Hello and welcome to a revised semaglutide instructional video. In this video I'm going to talk about not just semaglutide but other GLP-1 receptor agonist compounds. There are now 6 that I know of. We have the original, which is liraglutide. It's a daily injection, which the reason why semaglutide took over is because it's a long-acting analog. Most people don't like to inject, so the idea of doing it once a week is much more appealing than once a day. This was the third one though. Liraglutide came along first, dulaglutide second, which is in a ready jet pen. Dose is often too high, you can't control the dose, can't adjust the dose. That's why it didn't take off, although it was a longer acting analog. We then have semaglutide. Tirzepatide came along next. Forgive me on the butchering of the last two. Redruatide, and there's a new one, which I don't even know the name of properly. Each new one that comes out promises more benefits. But if your appetite is suppressed, your appetite is suppressed. Suppressing it further doesn't do anything that the others won't do in a higher dose. And the dose is very different for every single one of them, which then affects the price significantly. You can't compare milligram for milligram. And you can't think because you take 1 milligram tirzepatide, you're then going to need 1 milligram semaglutide. It's going to be different. We always start at the beginnings, we start low, and then increase when needed. When needed. Let me repeat again. Increase when needed. Because most people just increase because they're told to, and that leads them down a bad road. Well, you have to understand that when they have these general guidelines that have been given by some researchers or a company that's produced the compound, and they do it because they're literally giving these to millions and millions of people across the entire world. So it's not factoring in any genetic differences, ethnic differences, gender differences, size and weight differences, or anything else that you could possibly imagine. It's just general guidelines. So we have to factor in that everyone is a unique individual. Everyone needs a different amount, and everyone requires a different level of dosage due to their desire for suppression. So for example, I'll just want to take the edge off because I'm used to being a starving bodybuilder. Some people don't want to feel hungry at all, and they think it's not working if they feel hungry at all. But this is where we come on to abuse. The majority of people using semaglutide or any other GLP-1 compound are abusing them. They don't even diet. They literally start taking this stuff, then start to diet because they eat less and they generally don't feel hungry or can't eat. It's not how it was designed, it's not how it's supposed to work. If you want to abuse them like that, that's fine, but understand that it is abuse, not use. And you are worse than the guys who take steroids before they've even gone to the gym and say, I'm just getting back into it, I'm going to take some steroids first. So you are in a category with them, but worse, because there's more of you if you are someone who decides to take semaglutide and then start dieting. Instead of start dieting, your appetite's now going to go up, then you bring your appetite back down to where it was. That's what you should be doing. That's what I do, that's what I've done for 3 years. I've taken semaglutide continuously for 3 years. I'm the longest case study that I know of. This is why I'm making this video in the first place. Dealt with a lot of people. We've made some videos in the past, starting in 2021, and we're now here trying to give, this is the most important bit because it's where most people struggle, basic maths, how we mix, how we dose. I'm going to get to that in a minute with dosage and frequencies, but I'm just going to continue with abuse first. We'll talk about what these things do. I have a ChatGPT explanation of what semaglutide is. I'm not going to use it because that's what most people will do. They lack the knowledge and understanding and practical application to be able to do a video like this, just unscripted. So I'm putting the phone down, I don't need it. What do? They slow down gastric emptying. All of them. Gastric emptying, stomach, food out, slows it down. So if you're dieting properly and eating real food, not just, you've got no appetite so you're eating less shit but you're still eating shit, you start eating real food, that's going to digest more slowly than the shit you're eating before anyway. So you're already probably going to have the same benefits before using it if you just dieted properly. So we slow it down. It also affects your cravings, which ChatGPT doesn't have the updated information, so it stops at tirzepatide. Obviously I do. They promise more each time, and they promise that it's going to affect blood sugar levels more, weight loss more, questionable. Weight loss more, cravings more. I didn't see a difference between semaglutide and tirzepatide apart from the cost and the burning hole in my pocket. That was it. That's why I continue to use Sema, by the way. It's not an I. The I is there. It's not semaglutide. And it really frustrates me when people send me messages and they can't do maths and they can't spell. So if you're one of those people, forgive me if I'm frustrated on a message, because you can't spell and can't do maths. And you're abusing one of these things in the first place. Very few people message to say, I've started dieting, here's my diet, here's my steps, here's my cardio, and I'm looking at using one of these compounds, what would you advise? Most of them say, I bought one of these compounds, I'm going to start dieting. So instantly, we're going to clash on our beliefs. I'm still going to give people advice, but I disagree with your usage. Because in my opinion, it's abuse, and I think, objectively, we can agree there. With dosage and frequency, moving on to the next point. No, backtrack. Backtrack. So we've covered the majority of what these things do. Like I said, the newer models each time promise more, but we don't really see that translate into practical application. They may say that in a study, they may say that in the papers, they may say that in a promotional message, but ultimately, practical application, we don't often see that. And this is what's important. We don't just go off ChatGPT or scientific studies, we go off real world application, conversations I've had with people, my own experience, which is, as I said, the longest case study that I know that exists. So we're here. On to dosage and frequency. Most people, doesn't matter which one you're taking, this is going to be the same, so that's why I've just done it basic. It will be getting a 5 or 10 milligram of something. You do sometimes, with any kind of peptide, get weird milligrams that are harder to work out into round numbers. So if it's a 3 milligram, a 6 milligram, something like that, just awkward. 5, 10, 15, 20, easy. So, I can't believe I'm explaining this is basic maths. If you have a 5 milligram, I'm getting my insulin syringe. I'm going to mix one for you just to show you. If you have a 5 milligram, 1 milliliter of water, I know most of you like to say units, but it's still, we are measuring fluid, we are in the UK, so it's milliliters. We are not measuring insulin in units. Insulin is measured in units, it's an insulin syringe, which is why people get confused, but that is 1 milliliter. You have got 1 milliliter or 2 milliliters, usually, of water, so most people are using. So, 5,000 we'll say then, because it's milligrams. So 5,000 divided by 10. Gets a lot easier. Well then that would be 500 or 1,000. To make it a little bit easier, because some people might not grasp that, 1 milliliter has all 5 milligrams then, if I put it with 1 milliliter of water. Half of that is obviously 2.5. 0.1 milliliters, if you want to say 10 units, that's fine, but I'm still going to call it correctly. 0.1 milliliters is going to be 0.5 milligram. When mixed with 1 milliliter of water, one full syringe of water, each 0.1 is going to be 0.5 milligram, each 0.2 is going to be 1 milligram. So therefore, if we want to go a lower dose, which is where it's recommended to start, and I would advise most people to start at 0.25 milligram if they are starting semaglutide for the first time. Tirzepatide tends to be double. So I'd still advise someone, first time users, start at 0.25 milligram, which is what the recommended guidelines say, based off all the clinical research. Based on my experience, if you jump to half a milligram, you'll probably be fine. Most guys especially, you'll probably be fine. There's an odd person who feels nauseous and feels unwanted side effects. If you go to 0.75 or 1 milligram, some people are literally throwing up. That's why we start low. You could always take this, if 2 days you don't really feel much, take more. And go to 0.25 again. You don't double it. Just take more and take it a closer frequency. And bear in mind that it is recommended as once a week. It doesn't have to be done once a week. Like I said, very, very general guidelines. So we can do this as frequently as you want. You can do it every day if you really wanted to. You need to eat a weekly dose and then decide how we're going to split it. I personally now go 3 times a week. I used to go every 5th day. 3 times a week was better. Manage the side effects more. Get to not have the acid reflux. That was my biggest side effect because I don't go stupid on the dose. However, for context, my highest dose on the bodybuilding prep in 2022 was 4 milligrams every 5th day. Why? It's not because it's not working. This is something I have to make clear. It's not because it's not working. If you've been dieting for ages and you weren't taking this, your appetite would be through the roof, you'd be ready to kill people. So obviously your appetite's higher you then need a higher dose to combat that higher appetite. And that's what you have to understand. Because your body is trying to fight against you dropping your calories, and especially if you're really starving yourself, your body's really going to fight you. So that's why my dose went up. But then when I finished prep and I started increasing my food, I went right back down to 1 milligram. Because my appetite's really extreme, so I'll stay on 1 milligram a year round. If I'm dieting down, the lower my food gets, the higher this gets over time. But working through here, very simple, basic maths, as we say, and hopefully you guys will be able to get a grasp of that. But just stop confusing yourself by saying units and saying I'm measuring it in millilitres and all this sort of stuff. Just know your milligrams. That's all that matters. You just need to know the milligrams. It's measured in milligrams, and we are using milligrams. For any medicine, it's almost always milligrams. And if whatever it comes in, that's what we measure it in. That's what you need to know, because the fact is, 1 milliliter, 2 milliliter, it could go 3, 4, it's completely different, but half a milligram is half a milligram. It's the same, the half milligram is going to have the same effect, but it might be diluted to a different level. But half a milligram is half a milligram. It doesn't matter how much water it's mixed with. And that's the bit we need to get clear. Then moving on to 10, it's the same. I mean, if you can't work this out, 10 milligrams divided by 1 milliliter of water, each 0.1 is obviously 1 milligram, it's divided by 10. So this, I think people are just getting really, really worked up with it. From what I can understand, it's not that they can't do maths, because this is basic maths. It's that they're getting themselves confused by the bad advice they've been given. And just a bit of an overwhelming anxiety due to what they're doing. But that's why we're here to make this video of someone who actually got real world experience. Because it's the same, if you mix a 10 milligram, 2 millilitres of water, you basically get the same as this. You just diluted it further. And it's simple maths. But the main thing is knowing how much each 0.1 equates to based off the milligrams you've got in the vial, for display purposes, milligrams you've got in the vial, and the amount of liquid you put with it. I was actually going to say that I'm going to mix this. No, I'm not, because I've got mixing peptide videos. We've already got enough of them. The video's long enough. But ultimately, this is actually what we're supposed to break it with. On mixing peptide video, I did it with my t-shirt, which is what I tend to do anyway. And you are supposed to use alcohol swabs, so I'm going to mention that for good practice. That's how it's supposed to go. You're supposed to use alcohol swabs for good practice, but you don't have to. Don't think it's the end of the world if you don't. I would say, if you're going to say about having to do something, steps, cardio, eat properly are way more important than sterilising the top of the vial when you took the cap off, because it's already sterile. So that's dosage and frequency. Like I said, it's meant to be once a week. That's the way it's built. So is testosterone and amphate though. Doesn't mean we can't do it every day. It doesn't mean we can't do it more frequently than 7 days a week anyway. So I would always advise, take your weekly dose, split it up more frequently. It doesn't have to be every day. I mean, it's a bit excessive to do this every day. But it will manage the side effects better. It's the same with everything. Imagine you have 4 coffees across the day. You have 4 coffees in one go in the morning. What's going to have a better effect? You're taking the same amount of coffee, but you take 4 coffees in the morning, but like this, for the first few hours, and then you'll crash and burn. Or you have a steady release across the day. Same positive effects, but way less negative effects, because you don't get this big spike. It's the same with anything we can use. So we've got product quality. There's companies like to say that they get these from America. It's a lie. It's a lie. They come from some areas of Korea, some areas of India, some areas of China. Nowhere in America that I know of, apart from the actual pharmaceutical companies themselves, make those vials in any aspect. However, people will say they're from the UK, they're from America, because it sounds better. A lot of people have an issue with China, and if you say products from China, they will think the quality is lower. They think quality is higher because it's America. However, America has a very low amount of export these days. China is one of the biggest exporters in the world, and I would trust a Chinese product way more than the American product at this stage, especially with this sort of stuff. Biggest manufacturer in the world. So that's the first thing to understand. You also have to understand that in a hot climate, these can degrade over time, but over time, I'd still say put it in the fridge. It's advisable. But if it's going to get transported, there's a lot of travel time, that could degrade it slightly. Just understand that. So if it is slightly weaker and it's middle of summer, probably answer your question as to why. But we still have to understand, how's it being stored when you get there? If you're going to like an aesthetics workout, I know that some of these people have just been putting them on the side and just been giving them to people all the time. If you walk in somewhere like that and you're getting bad advice, someone doesn't seem to have this level of understanding, and they're just giving you some random product to pull out the side or off a shelf, don't use it, please. Please. It's a safety video we're making at the end of the day. This is a bad idea. The wrong people to listen to. It's why I'm making this video. Because my hand's been forced. It always is. Moral obligation to try and help people because no one else seems to be doing it. But like I said, the quality can vary. So the main thing is if you get in a good source, stay with them if you can. There are some decent ones out there. There are some trustworthy people. Not everyone's a charlatan. Not everyone's just after your money. Some people are actually after helping people and trying to make a positive impact. But you have to understand that the quality does vary. And that could mean there's unwanted side effects that have come with it. And sometimes the product quality is just lower because the manufacturers are just as bad after people's money, and other people who are selling want the lowest price product possible, so they're going to get the low quality crap coming from one of these countries that exports. So this is why we have to say, get a valuable source, someone who's just not after your money. Ideally someone who is going to give you the help. You can even ask questions, that's loaded questions like, please could you give me some more detail? See what they come back with. Do they seem to have an understanding? Can you have a conversation with them? Anything like that just gives you a little bit more confidence in what you're doing. You're putting something in your body. And I know that we put a lot of stuff in our body that's not necessarily good for us. You still want to try your best to not put yourself at harm's way. That's why we have to be really careful with this. But just to go back to dosing. Someone did message me, I can't remember what the message is. Someone messaged me a while ago saying, I had a 10 milligram, I've mixed it with 1 milliliter of water, and I've taken half of it. I think I've taken too much. I said, how much were you supposed to take? He said 0.5 milligrams. Well, 0.5 milligrams is that much. It's 0.05 milliliters. Because you mixed 10 with 1 milliliter, so it's a 20th of that. And then he took 5 milligrams and didn't understand that that's obviously, you've mixed it with, that's all the water you mixed it with, and then you took half. So half of 10 is what, 5? And but then it's interesting, because people have messed up like this, we then see what happens. What did happen? He was just throwing up for a few days and he felt pretty rough. He didn't die. People think, are you saying, am I going to die? And I said, I don't think so. You're just going to feel pretty bad for a few days. Is there anything I can do to help it? No. Learn maths and don't be so careless. So was the answer, because it was careless. That was a really careless mistake. It's like saying, oh, well, I wanted a shot of vodka and I took half a bottle. How did you do that? Because when you look at it like that, you think, well, that's a real big mess up there. But exactly. And the last thing I was going to say was supplements. A lot of people do struggle with constipation, but most people struggle with constipation anyway. So putting a fibre supplement in would be very advisable. I would say Strong Sports Digest Max. Put it on. Digest Max by Strong. It's my best go-to supplement. No, I'm not sponsored by Strong. I just really like their supplement, which shows you how much of a good supplement it is, because I'm completely impartial. I buy it because it's good, not because I have anything to gain from it. Don't even get a discount. That will help. You can put the fibre supplements with it, that will help. I would say, because a lot of people then undereat, definitely undereat on real food, putting a good multivitamin in will definitely help you if you're lacking in nutrients, which most people will be, especially if not only you're dieting on poor quality food. That will help you. If we're going to go there, we go supplement needs. So I'm going to put SN Multivit Pro. Supplement Needs Multivitamin Pro will really help you. Supplement Needs is a very reputable company, as is Strong. Two of the best companies we have in the UK. We are very lucky to be in the UK because we have high quality companies like this. Any of their supplements are good. Buy anything. If you want a supplement, you want a pre-workout, you want a protein powder, anything else, buy one of these two. It will always be good. But they should really help you. Anything else that would help with semaglutide? Potentially, if you're taking too much, it's things like apple cider vinegar will offset the nausea and acid reflux. Apple cider vinegar is obviously a form of acid, and it does help just get rid of acid reflux. A lot of people take an antacid, wrong approach. That's the way medicine wants us to think. And there are medicines that, I'm trying to think of the name, proton pump inhibitors that stop the acid reflux. You're better just introducing more acid. So you've got betaine hydrochloride, betaine. Oh no, I don't know how to spell it. That's wrong. Betaine HCl. That's not spelled right. Ignore that. Betaine HCl and apple cider vinegar. Oh, I can't rub it off. I spelled vinegar wrong. Apple cider vinegar as well. Betaine hydrochloride, apple cider vinegar, forms of acid that help the acid reflux. You've got this is going to fill in the voids of nutrient deficiencies that you're going to create by undereating and eating crap. And that is going to help by the fact you're undereating and eating crap, because it's going to help pass the constipation. Drink lots of water, steps, cardio, eat properly. If you're unsure with any of these things, by the way, please do contact me. This is what I'm here for. It's not just to say, well, this is my experience with this stuff. I'm a transformation specialist. I've been doing this for years. Not only my own transformation, but hundreds of other people. So all this stuff is just basics obviously to me, but that's why I'm there to help. If you need help with it, drop me a message on Instagram and we can go through anything you're struggling with. I have a number of free ebooks that can definitely help you get started if you're completely unsure where to start with a diet. I'll give you one of my ebooks and at least give you some idea, just like this, with the calculations and things that you need to be doing to get started. And then if you want to take things further, you want the custom approach, then we can set that up as well. But the main thing is you understand how to use these as tools, not crutches, to really change your life. Understanding that the GLP-1 receptor agonist category is the most revolutionary category of anything that's ever come along in my entire life. It's why I make these videos. I'm so damn passionate, because it changed my life. And every single person I speak to has the same effect. It's changed their life. They message me, oh my God, it's changed my life. I've got friends and family that are 20, 30, 40 kilos down. Their life has changed. But you need to make sure you're doing things properly and in a healthy way. So please be cautious with the mixing. Please be cautious with the dosing, the frequency, putting the supplements in and doing everything properly, and be safe, be aware. Don't take advice of idiots. If you do struggle and you do have questions, please fire them at me. And I'm going to leave things there. But I will catch you on the next one. Thank you for watching. Be safe as always.